Hi, everyone. This is Sue Quackenbush, Chief People Officer at Dynatrace. And today I am bringing to you Vicky Hubner, who is our Talent Development Manager based in Vienna. Welcome, Vicky.
Hi, Sue. Happy to be here.
I'm so excited to speak to you, Vicky, because it's all about talent development. And you've almost been here 4 years. So, what led you to the world of talent development? And how did your journey get started at Dynatrace?
Yeah, that's a great question because, to be honest, I wasn't that kind of a kid who always knew one day I'm going to be a vet or a teacher. So I really had no clue what I wanted to be when I grow up. So I studied communication sciences, thinking I want to be a journalist or I want to be a writer someday. And then I tried these things out during my studies and I realized, nope, not my thing, don't want to do that. And it was really when I had my master's that I had one course, and that was interpersonal communications. And I sat in that course and I was like, okay, that's it. That is what I want to do. I love that. So first I did talent development at a retail company. Then I switched industries and I did 3 years talent development in hospitality. And then I decided, okay, I just turned 30. So I want to do something different with my life, move to the big city. So I left my home, Salzburg, and decided I want to move to Vienna. And to be honest, I don't know whether I should say it on the podcast, but to be honest, I didn't know what Dynatrace is. So I applied for a couple of jobs and I just read the description and I thought, okay, that sounds really nice. That sounds like a company I want to be in. And so I applied and met lovely people already during the recruiting process. Got to see the Linz office, and thankfully they took me. So this is what brought me here.
And that is beautiful. And when you think about talent development, can you tell us what role does it play in a tech company, and especially a high growing tech company?
The focus that we really have are human skills, right? So there are lots of technical experts within the company, and they also have their own learning team. At the same time, I think the value that our team brings is we need to have that foundation of, okay, how do we talk to each other? How do we provide feedback to each other? How do we want our people to grow? How do we want our leadership to be? And that is where I would say talent development comes in and says, okay, on the one hand, we want to define those things, but on the other hand, that is not something that I read a book about or that we could just have an email sent out and suddenly everyone does it. No, it is about behavior and it is a skill and a muscle that you need to train. And that is what we do. So we provide offerings for all our colleagues throughout business functions. So it doesn't matter whether it's a software engineer, a sales manager, or someone from finance. All of them can enroll to what we offer, and then we work together.
I love it. And the ability to connect to an individual through language, that communication is so critically important because it is really difficult given the thousands of things that are coming at someone during the day through emails, Slacks, chats, everything. And this is such an important skill. So tell me about how do you scale this? And I know you've created this amazing program and I know we're calling it Leap now. So can you talk to me about what Leap is and how you started it and how you're using it and the future of it?
My favorite topic in the world. Very happy to talk about that one. So, yeah, it actually started during my recruiting process because they had a question and it said, "How would you teach 1,200 people back then within R&D in communication. How would you do that? And when I first opened up the email, I have to be quite honest, I said, okay, wow, that's a very good question. I have no idea how I, as an individual, should do that to 1,200 people. And so I really put on my creative thinking hat and was like, okay, what would I do? What could I do? What would I like as an employee at Dynatrace? And so I said, okay, it's got to be peer-to-peer learning. That is what I always appreciated most. If it was not someone telling me they have all the wisdom and they tell it to me and they only think in their own little box because they have studied that. No, I want the colleague sitting next to me teaching me those things. And so I thought, okay, that's what we're going to do. So my idea was that we're going to set up a community with internal facilitators. We will enable those people what it means to facilitate, what our brain does when it learns, and how we need to tackle that so that it is exciting. And the greatest thing of all is that yet I like the concept, so I got the job, great thing. But the best thing about it is that I actually got to do it. So I think it was my end of my first month, I already started to work on that. And then I introduced it in one first call, and I was so anxious. I was like, okay, I like the idea. I think it's a really good idea. But what if no one signs up? What if no one wants to be my a part of my community? Then it's not a community. Then it's a one-woman show. And I was lucky that people signed up. And so now we are 40 people across the globe, across different business functions that raised their hand and said, yeah, I want to be part of LEAP. I want to be that learning peer that gets approached when someone is facing a critical conversation and they need a sparring partner. I want to be that learning peer that says, hey, I am willing to facilitate a presentation practice session. I am willing to facilitate a session around feedback. And we have software engineers, we have developers, we have program owners, product owners, we have people in culture. So lots of different functions, lots of different skill sets, and that is so great.
So you bring people into this community, which we have over 40. Do you enable them, or is there a Dynatrace way to facilitate some of the difficult conversations or some of the presentations? I mean, talk to me about how do you get them ready to send them loose?
So, and that is another great thing about the community. It wasn't me on my own that enabled them, but we had those that have been with the community for a longer time. And every one of us came together on site in Vienna where we welcomed our new leaps. And it was more or less the oldies teaching the newbies. So it was like a little internal conference, and we had different parts. On the one hand, it was how does the human brain learn? On the other hand, we tackled topics like what is important, how can you engage your participants? It is a principle that is called training from the back of the room. And I really like that approach because it says, hey, it is not you as a facilitator that should be in the center of attention. It should be the learners. So every one of us has a story to tell. Every one of us has some prior knowledge to the things that they are here to learn. The thing that LEAP offers is room for creativity, room for innovation, where people come to me and leaps come to me and are like, Vicky, I have an idea. Do you think we can do that?
Yep. I think it's a wonderful program. And so what's next for LEAP? And are there any new developments in the works for the LEAP program?
I can't say anything yet in terms of how we're going to do that and what the idea is, but I already have 1,000 new ideas what else we could do, and how we could support our peers in different ways. So the idea is definitely to scale and to take a leap.
Well, I look forward to seeing that and learning of the evolution on how we scale. And, the idea of combining community, the idea of combining peer-to-peer learning, the ability to continue to self-adjust and learn from each other, but also provide a service to the organization to improve how we communicate across Dynatracers in a global and very vibrant organization. I think that's critical. And I love the fact that even in everything that we're rolling out, there's a constant feedback mechanism from everyone who is taking it to say, how do we continue to improve it? But all of these touch points are creating stronger community, stronger connection across the organization. And we see that we just finished our engagement survey for the second year. Our sense of belonging throughout the organization is 83%. 83% of our population they agree or strongly agree that they feel like they belong at Dynatrace. And that's huge. So I just want to say thank you so much. And thank you for your time on this podcast. It was wonderful hearing how you thought of these programs and how we're bringing them to life.
Yeah, that it really means so much to me, Sue. So thanks. Thanks a lot.